Hey guys and girls, my name is Alan and welcome to today's video. As you can tell from the title, today I'm going to be covering my top 10 tips for Uncharted 4 Survival Arena. It's a video that I've thought about doing for quite a while now and it's taken a lot longer to put together than I thought it would do. I was hoping to get it up last weekend but that didn't quite work out, so basically I've played a lot of survival since it first dropped last year, so the stages, and now we've got arena to play as well. And I picked up a lot of stuff and I do talk about some of it in my normal gameplay videos, but I thought I'd make this video dedicated to helping new players and players who are looking to just pick up a few tips. Right, so without further ado, let's get started. At number 10, if you haven't yet done so, I would recommend highly to hit level 50 as soon as you possibly can. There are a lot of things that you get as you level up, but the most beneficial things that you'll get are extra health in terms of character life and also weapon damage as well as you can go up. So as you can see, the higher you go, the more bonuses you get. So getting to level 50 is definitely number one on the list to do first of all. As well as obviously getting those bonuses, you do also get additional loadout points, which means you can bring extra boosters or higher level boosters into match, which again is very useful. And of course you do unlock heavy weapons during the course of leveling up as well, so you can buy them from the chests even if you don't think you're going to use them often. It is nice to be able to buy them when you need to. There are several ways to rank up, obviously just by playing the game. Normally you'll do that, but in my opinion, if you go for stars in the stages section, you do earn a lot of XP, and this XP can help you rank up. As you can see in this example here, I jumped several stages just from completing one match. And then of course you've got the XP that you get from medals, so the more work you do in matches, the more XP you get at the end of the game. And don't forget that there are different difficulties as well, so even though you might have mastered moderate, you can then go into hard, and then there is a trophy for crushing as well, so then you can kill two birds with one stone. You can also just play regular arena matches as well, survival arena. You do get a lot of XP for completing these matches. Higher the difficulty, the more XP you do earn. However, don't just jump into a harder difficulty because you believe you're going to earn more XP. You only earn this XP if you actually beat the match, and if you beat the match quickly. For example, if you beat a match on crushing but it took you 2 hours, you could have played 4 normal matches in that time and probably earned more XP and had a more fun time. It's not just about difficulty, it's about the speed at which you complete the matches. At number 9, you should be working on leveling up your weapons as soon as possible. This kind of goes hand in hand with point number 1, in that you kind of want to rank up quickly anyway, and the best way to do that is to complete stages to earn your stars, and the chances are you'll be playing some stages over and over again in order to do that. And if those stages have bosses, you can farm those bosses, as I said, to coincide with you leveling up anyway. These bosses have a chance of dropping new weapons. They also have the chance to drop a variant upgrade of an existing weapon that you've got. And these upgrades are useful in general. I mean, the one that you really want is at level 5, which is extra damage. However, the ones before that give you better weapon handling, give you more ammo, and give you extended mags. All of that is really useful for taking into the game regardless of the situation. As well as taking out bosses in the survival stages, you can just play normal arena matches and you'll get weapon unlocks that way as well. However, just like stages, if you play on low level difficulties, you'll get low level drops. If you play on high difficulties, you're more likely to get high level drops, but it's not guaranteed until you max out all the low difficulties, so just bear that in mind. Tip number 8 is to stick together. Stay close to your teammates so you can help each other out, back each other up if necessary, and of course if someone goes down, you need to be on hand to be able to pick them up, and who knows, if you go down and they're on the opposite side of the map, who's going to pick you up, so just bear that in mind as well. But obviously the main thing is not to stand too close to each other, because as you can see on the screen there as an example, if an A comes flying in, it can do some serious damage if you're standing right next to each other. Likewise with other enemy explosives as well, so you got the RPG, which again I'm going to show an example in a second, but then you've also got things like the China Lake. As you can see, just having that little bit of a distance in between each other really does help. On higher difficulties in particular, if an RPG comes in at close range and you're standing next to each other, then it can spell disaster. And don't forget as well that in this game, explosives can breach objects. So if the RPG were to hit the other side of that wall I just showed you, you would still be hit by that force. And of course, you need to be wary as well of enemy mysticals come flying in. You want to scatter as soon as possible. So again, stay close to each other, but give each other room to move around as well. At number 7, I believe you should really be working on your loadouts. I've been playing stages and arena for a long time and I'm still figuring out the best combinations. I'm still mixing things up as well. And of course, if you're still unlocking boosters, try them out as soon as you get them. And really, you need to get all the loadout points available before you can properly build a decent class. So again, that goes hand in hand with leveling up quickly to hit level 50. There's plenty of boosters to choose from, and some of them are more useful than others, but it's only until you try them out that you'll understand fully what they do and if they're going to benefit you in a certain match. And don't be afraid to switch out loadouts between maps and between stages as well, because not every single map plays the same and you might treat certain maps differently, and obviously your playstyle might change on one map to the next, so pick your loadout accordingly. I am actually planning another video for next week, and I'll be talking a bit more about my personal loadout choices. At number 6, I think this is a really important point to note, and that is to know the maps and to know the strategies associated with those maps. In stages in particular, if you play a certain way, you are guaranteed to get a faster time. So be a team player. If there's a plan in place, stick with it, stick with your teammates and play it out accordingly. Several maps have choke points just like this one on Trainwreck. If you aim down sights and stick together, you can mow down enemies before they get anywhere near you to do any sort of damage. There are plenty of choke points like this across all the maps and across all the stages. You just need to learn them. The example you're about to see now is on Scotland, but as I said, there's one for every single map pretty much. You just got to find it and work with your team to hold it down. As well as knowing how to funnel the enemies into a kill zone, you need to be aware of where the objectives are going to spawn, how you're going to tackle these objectives, how you're going to get to these objectives. You then need to be conscious as well of enemies spawning in differently during those objective waves, because they won't spawn in set locations like they do in survival stages. And then of course, you need to be able to react on your feet. If something happens, you need to know where you're going to go next, what you're going to do next. For example here, teammate goes down, I happen to go down as well. It's really bad timing. Fortunately, third manages to pick me up. He then unfortunately gets caught by a choker. I did turn around, tried to help him out using my China Lake. He went down though, so now I'm in a really tough situation. Do I fight my way towards him, which is risky because there's a lot of enemies around me? Do I risk going for the revive on the second? I do not. I decide to hit the box straight away because I can hear a choker behind me. I can also see a choker behind me, and I know it's just too risky. I probably could go for it, but it's better for me to go for the box. In the end, I do get a double revive, so fortunately disaster averted, and I get a cheeky kill on that choker as well. At number 5, if you're downed, crawl to safety. I see some players just stay in the open, just like the AI does. I don't understand why. You're prompted to crawl on the screen. You can do it anyway in multiplayer, so there's really no reason for you to stay where you are if you're downed in the open. Get yourself to cover. Sometimes it pays to go a little bit further away. For example, the player on screen here, he was smart. He could have come to me, but I was weak. He didn't know that. I wasn't communicating with him, but if I'd have gone down as well, there'd have been 2 down at the bottom of the steps, and then we had to go to third anyway. So if he went straight to third, which is what he did, that was smart. He got picked up. I came over to help anyway, but it wasn't required. But if I'd needed to be there, I could have been there. This guy, not so smart. Goes down in the open, stays in the open. He does eventually decide to crawl over, only after third goes down anyway. So simple things like that can be avoided really easily. So get yourself to safety. It's first and foremost. People get downed. It happens to the best of us. It's how you handle that situation after you get downed. That's what defines you. So you get yourself to safety. You don't put your team in jeopardy. Obviously, you know, sometimes stuff like this happens where you get a double down. But again, it's how you handle it. Unfortunately, this guy decides to crawl straight off the edge, even though me in second had him. There is a bug, there is a glitch. Nordjog are aware of it. I don't know if they're going to fix it, but if you crawl off or you fall off the edge as you're being revived, that progress gets reset. Fortunately, in that situation, we were able to recover and to pick him up anyway, but had the situation been a lot worse and we were surrounded by enemies, that could have caused us to restart easily. So stay where you are if you know you're getting revived, but you can crawl to safety as long as your teammates can follow you there without falling off the edge. And again, this is another example. If you can't get to somebody in time to pick them up, don't be afraid to hit the box. Sometimes you don't need to buy a team revive. In that situation there, if the player hadn't rolled off the edge, my Indra would have picked them up, and then we could have gone for the third because third was top side and it was clear top side. So it's unfortunate, but as I said, you don't need to go for the team revive all the time. It's a lot cheaper to go for the Indra, and if you think that's the best way to do it, then obviously it's your call to make. Coming at number 4, prevention is always better than the cure. If you can help it, avoid going down in the first place. I understand that downs happen, it happens to the best of us as I was saying earlier, but there are ways that you can avoid it or to mitigate the risk of it happening to you. For example, in this situation here, the player went down, obviously he saw the Eldorado come in, but he ran towards where it landed, not knowing that that was going to land there. The boss does do an animation when he throws down a mystical. He also does an audio cue as well, so if you're listening out and you see out for it, then of course you can sort of avoid it a bit better. It goes without saying that you should always use cover where possible in survival, whether it's soft cover like I'm using. Soft cover means you're just standing behind or to the side of cover. Hard cover means you're actually in cover, as you can see on the screen now. Now there are benefits to both. In the first example, enemies, I had a good line of sight, so I could just pick them off without having to worry about too much. In this example here, there's a lot of enemies coming down. As you can see, even though I'm just popping out of cover, as soon as I stick my head out, I'm taking shots on and my screen's turning red. So you really need to judge the situation. And another point to note here as well, don't block your teammates' line of sight, and definitely don't block their field of fire, because if your body is standing in the way of their shots will do 0 damage to enemies. Tip number 3, don't rush straight into the siege area. The siege doesn't start until at least one player steps into the ring and the ring turns green. That's when enemies start spawning in. The difference between the siege in this game and in previous games is that enemies spawn in set locations around the siege area. They don't spawn on the opposite side of the map. They don't climb into the map. It doesn't give you any time to react once they've started spawning in. So wait for everyone to be ready. As you can see the example here, I got there well early, but the other two I knew were buying stuff from the crate, so I waited for them. This is just a public game, but I've seen it quite a lot. It's a common courtesy thing and a lot of people adhere to it, but there are 1 or 2 players who don't. Maybe they don't know about the rule. Well, it's not really a rule, it's just an unwritten rule, but it's a common courtesy thing. You wait for the other players to turn up, you wait for them to be ready. If they want to check down mines, let them do so. If they want to hit the crate first, let them do so. They're doing stuff to benefit the team. If you enter the area before other players turn up, you risk being cut off from them, and if it's a really high level wave and high difficulty enemies, you could get cut off. If one person gets down, that's it. You're not getting revived. And the example you can see on the screen here is just of that situation. For some reason this player runs straight into the siege area. He knows that there's someone buying stuff from the chest. He knows I haven't even got halfway there yet. He runs into it, or she, I don't know. And as you can see, the situation there is he gets downed, and it's a tough situation already, and it was completely avoidable. If he'd have just waited for everyone to join him first, then it would have been a much better start to the wave. Just missing out on the top spot. At number 2, I've got always have some money in the bank. Now the reason for this is pretty obvious. You never know when you might need to buy an emergency team revive from the crate. For example, as you can see on the screen now, with 2 players down, what do? Hit the chest. The quickest way to buy a team revive is to open the chest, press up once, buy. That's what you need to do. It's the bottom one, and you can cycle around if you press the up button. There are several ways that you can save money in the game, and the most common way is, you've probably already seen it, is if you suicide during the timer countdown before the next wave kicks in, you'll automatically respawn, but you have free ammo, and that's a good way of refilling your secondary and your primary. However, as you can see, it doesn't refill your heavy weapon ammo. Taking the top spot at number 1 is the most important factor, I believe, in any game that has any sort of co-op gameplay whatsoever. Not just Uncharted 4 Survival, but any co-op gameplay out there. And that is to work with your team and be a team player. And then, to coincide with that, is to play the objective. That is how you complete the match. That is how you beat the game, which ultimately is what you want to do. You play the objectives, you complete the objectives as a team, you work efficiently, you get a good time, you get a good result, you complete the match, everyone's happy. I mean, it's worth noting that if you don't want to play with other players, you can play this game mode solo. I've done it several times, and the option is there for you to do so. You don't have to play with other players if you don't want to. In my personal humble opinion, if you choose to play a public match, or if you choose to host a public match, then you've sort of signed an agreement that you're going to play as a team with these other players. Otherwise, what's the point? You might as well be playing on your own if you're not going to be working with them or helping them out or helping each other out. I mean, it works both ways. If I don't help you, you don't help me. Why are we in the same lobby? We might as well be playing different matches with other players, or, you know, on our own, for example. So it works both ways. Also, I mean, as I said, matches just go a lot better when you work together as a team, and when you help each other out. For me, that's a good feeling. Like, if I want to play on my own, it's a different feeling when I succeed, but if I play with a team and we overcome a tough challenge, then that's a great feeling. And I mean, I did a video a couple of weeks ago talking about all the stuff that I didn't really like in survival, and one of the things I highlighted was the fact that in this game, it's all about the will to succeed. And as a team, if you have that will to succeed, you will do so. There's nothing that can't be overcome in this game. It's not that hard, but what makes it hard, in my opinion, is the fact that players don't work together well, or maybe they're not on the same page in terms of strategies. So things like learning the objectives, most of them are preset in certain locations. Treasure hunt, for example. For things like siege, there's only a set number of places that they will be set, so you can learn the best ways to defend those siege areas and the best ways to approach those waves. And of course, when it comes to bosses, yeah, you can do it on your own technically, but it's a lot easier and a lot quicker if you work together with your team towards the end goal, and that is, of course, to finish the match. Alright then, so that will wrap up today's top 10 list. As I said, this is something different, something new. I've not done one of these before. It took a lot longer than I thought to put together, getting all the clips and making notes of what to talk about and so on and so forth, but kind of fun at the same time. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you picked up a few things, then that's great. If you've got any thoughts you'd like to share me regarding my ordering of the list, let me know in the comment section below. Maybe your number 1 slot will be different to what I've picked. The list, yeah, obviously you can move it around a little bit, but I think number 1 spot is definitely number 1 spot. That's just my opinion. As per usual, if you enjoyed the content, consider tapping the like button. I really would appreciate it, particularly for this video. But until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, take care, and I will see you later.